Check, check. What's up, Kayfabe crew? Ed Piscor here. Another day, another strip needs a drawing. Let's take a look real quick, man, at the prior day's work. Thank you guys so much for joining me in the previous stream. That was a fun one, and I didn't get a chance to draw all the most fun stuff on that stream, so I just wanted to show some of those bits off, man. Have our girl lunging at this wife-beaten stepdad type character, getting one over on him, and then cooking that motherfucker. Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are ready for another day of drawing. And shouts to the Kayfabers who hipped us to that Batman Year One Artist Edition pre-sale. Could that be the greatest artist edition to come down the pike? I think it's in the runnings, sight unseen, because Mazzucchelli's a ruler. You know, if it's a fraction of what the Born Again Artist Edition is, it's going to be stellar. And think about it, how old is that Daredevil Born Again Artist Edition? Is that 10 years old at this point? It's got to be close. And I say that because I was jonesing for that thing when I was broke as a joke. And that would be before Hip Hop Family Tree Volume 1, which sort of changed my life. Yeah, Chip Kid in the mix. Come on now. Come on now. West Coast Avengers is calling it out, man. The Kelly Jones, Matt Wagner Kickstarter just went live. And guess what? Uncle Matt sent me a PDF of book 1. The thing is incredible. The thing is incredible. I'm going to talk with them. I'm going to talk with David Hyde, the publicity guy, and see if they will approve a cool, like, preview episode where we go through, you know, X number of pages, spoiler free. But it is exciting. It is an exciting time for comics. I can't be more thrilled with the level of craft and the level of talent that is out there doing things. I'm so proud and happy for Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones. This, at first blush, I gotta tell you, man, that Dracula book looks like it's something that those guys were built to freaking make. So go jump into that Kickstarter, pledge your funds, and you know, sit back and wait for a really, really cool comic to get delivered to you. But I'm telling you right now, like they got a chunk of it done. So it's not one of those Kickstarters to be nervous about, you know. Like, these are pros with what, maybe 70 years of experience between the both of them, 80. These guys know how to hit their marks. You know how things go around here, though, man. We need your support for our works and that Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus. I have it. I want to see if we can sell that thing out in 2023. Will we be able to sell out the Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus in 2023? That's a low-key goal that I'm thinking about. You know, would that be possible? So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, anybody that likes comics and anybody that likes rap music, they need to get their hands on this thing. Best book I ever made. But let's talk about that the Batman Year One Artist Edition. That book is absolutely one of those holy grail artist editions that I remember fantasizing about. You know, if you could will your favorite artist editions into existence. Very, very high on the list, and the fact that it's coming, amazing. So you know what that means, boys and girls. The next kind of incantations and spells we need to perform to conjure up new artist editions. How about that Weapon X, huh? Barry Windsor Smith, the height of his powers, doing some shit. Let's go. It's been floating around on Facebook. There's a German edition of Weapon X that is in black and white. So you won't be able to read it. But so what? You have your English editions. You know, you have your issues of Marvel Comics Presents. But in that pristine black and white, you know, let's go. Yeah, we need Grant Morrison to do some of his sex magic and fucking skeet into satanic skull while sitting inside of a pentagram and conjure up some of those artist editions that we want out there in the universe. Rob McCollum, big shout, sir. Gonna hit that P.O. box tomorrow and see the bounty that you sent our way. Many, many, many appreciations. Trying to think here. Just kind of mapping things out. Let's see. Need to look at some different Tupperwares. What is the biggest box that ever hit the P.O. box? Has there ever been anything that we've been scared about? I will say that one time, and it was during the height of the pandemic when there was no information about anything. I went to the P.O. box, scooped up some stuff, and just took for granted that we got the accurate mail, and just opened up whatever, the stacks that came our way. And then it was the first time I ever saw cans of Liquid Death, which we did not order. It was for somebody else's P.O. box. And I never heard that. I never heard of it. And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was some weird survivalist shit. Some Alex Jones product or something. And took it right back. It was like, yeah, this ain't ours, man. But just that title. We sort of take it for granted now. It's out there. We know about it. But I did not have any clue about what Liquid Death was. And it was like, man, this is some hillbilly shit. And maybe it is. I don't know that much about it. But I at least have heard of it at this point. We've gotten boxes that were close to 100 pounds. one fellow in particular, man, that I'll just never forget, man. Darren Maurer. He sent us a whole bunch of buttons and stuff, but on top of that, he sent us about 6 boxes that were around altogether 300 or 400 pounds of comics, and it would be stuff like 2000 AD, Progs, a lot of foreign comics, tons of stuff. We've gotten some real wild stuff too, and I absolutely do not want to encourage this, but somebody sent us an entire original comic that they made. The original papers, you know, they did it on like a 8.5 by 11. It's extremely rigorous. It's unclear if they printed it or anything like that. But it's a real piece of folk art for sure. And just a super cool object. I sort of covet it in a way. But don't do that. You know, don't send us an entire original stack of artwork, you know, 30, 40 pages of stuff that you worked hard on. It just, having original art, period, makes me nervous. And to be a custodian of somebody else's stuff is very nerve-wracking. Yes, sir. The optic bindings, Miracle Man books. That was something I was very curious about. And at the time, that was when people were sending us tons of Wizard magazines. And I just kept joking with my business partner and co-host that it must be a run of Wizard. You know, it must be a ton of Wizard magazines, because you stack up those mags in a box, it gets very heavy very quickly, and that's what it was feeling like. But as soon as we cracked it open and I saw the spine, I immediately knew what it was, even though, you know, it was a singular invention. It was just so clear what it was going to be, and I was over the moon excited. That was a heck of a package to open. Pause. So immature he has to say pause, man. Now that we got a couple more people in the room, let's show off yesterday's page a bit. Turned out pretty well. I like playing around with lighting like this, where the light source is clearly from the zappies here, and we see just a different sort of lighting treatment on the characters. You know, you put the black background, it really sells the luminosity. You put the shadow up there instead of at the bottom of the brim. Did a couple vids on Batman Year One, of course. You know, it's one of the American canon of comics, so you gotta handle that. But I stated that the Absolute Edition was the best way to get your, you know, to absorb that book, because it had a collection of the newsprint sort of treatment that you would have found in the regular comic books, but then it also had the original hardcover, you know, trade paperback stuff. And then it also has the complete script, which that alone is worth the price of admission. So I actually kind of stand by that. You know, Frank Miller's a big piece of that product, and why not have his script? So if DC knows anything, man, they know how to take a couple of bites of those apples. And there are a couple of cool options for Batman Year One. You know, just when you thought you had all of them, just the thought when you had enough of them, they come at you and surprise you. I think famously, Mazzucchelli really never got rid of much of his art. So, like Simonson, you know, he's able to. They're able to curate that stuff relatively reasonably, and I wouldn't be surprised if the bottleneck was really DC Comics and just trying to come up with an equitable deal with IDW. You know, that's something that we could maybe ask Scott Dunbier about. I was having a little trouble sleeping last night, man, so I got up. I got up out of bed, didn't get an ounce when I went to bed last night, and just came back out at about 1 a.m. and just finished up that page. Took till about 7, 8 in the morning, maybe 7, but I stayed up till 8. I ate breakfast. I scanned in a bunch of the pages that I've yet to scan in and kind of just put into my raw folder directory, upload it to the cloud storage. Man, that is essential. You should absolutely have an offsite backup of all your work, and I could comfortably and with confidence say that in my 20-year career, I'd never had to do something twice. Due to computer issues, and I've had computer issues. Absolutely, I've had hardware malfunctions and bad hard drives, corrupted hard drives, and all of that kind of stuff, but never lost a day's work, thanks to originally just backing up on hard drives. But now I do both. I have a hard drive on hand and immediately upload stuff to the cloud. But I was super beat after I had some breakfast and had to take a little nap from about 8 to noon. And now here we are. This is strip 99. The goal originally was to get 100 done by year's end, but look at where we're at right now. It's October 24th as of this stream. And with any luck, maybe we'll have strip 100 done tomorrow. It doesn't feel too likely. It would kind of require me to... I did not write and rough a strip today, which is my usual modus operandi. So I have to completely do that page from scratch. And I don't know if... It'll be an interesting test, because I got some other stuff going on. Thanks everybody who has been supporting the Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus. Total labor of love, and had to do it up fly for that 10th anniversary. Giving little Soda Pop a Operation Ivy type edgelord punk rock brother. Yeah, if you guys check out my Instagram, there's this Japanese version of the Hip Hop Family Tree collection that's gonna come out when I'm in Tokyo, that we're doing up to look like a Shonen Jump. So it'll have colored papers, it'll have colored inks. Every couple of pages will have a different aesthetic, and it's going to be very, very cool. I'm going to be doing a signing out there at an art book festival. If you're new to the streams, I'm working on a future daily comic strip that I plan to put out in 2024 called Switchblade Shorties. And it's going to be disseminated on my social media platforms, including Cartoonist Kayfabe socials. There will be a dedicated Instagram also for Switchblade Shorties, where you'll be able to read like an entire clip of them. And then I think once a week I'm going to do a reading of the prior week's strips and share them with you guys here on Cartoonist Kayfabe. Make a little video. as of this moment, that artist edition for Batman Year One is my most anticipated book of 2024. But I wonder, what are yours? What are the books that you know are on the horizon that I need to know about, that you'd want to see a video of, that excites you? Well, the Japanese version of Hip Hop Family Tree, is that something that gets released in conjunction with Fantagraphics? It's pretty independent. It's not the same material. Like the omnibus, you're getting more with the omnibus. All that the Japanese version is a collection of the stuff that's done. I don't even know if they're going to put the pinups in there. Probably. But, we're playing with aesthetics with that. It's going to be that, like, cheap Japanese printing on that cheap newsprint, which is not a pejorative to me. That's literally what I wanted. It crossed my mind that it would be a cool thing to do a collection. And to be honest, I was in talks with them about doing that collection before it was going to be random. Like, we were just going to do it. And COVID happened. And it created a situation where, they were being a little lean with their projects and stuff. But they came through it. And here we are. But I think we were talking about doing a collection of that stuff with Press Pop 2016, maybe. Right after they published the 4. Yeah, Jordan Crane's stuff looks great. I follow him on the gram, and love seeing his new posts. Just such a great cartoonist. Yes, Jeff Smith Kickstarter, absolutely. I'm going to email them and see how he's feeling and see if he'd be up for an hour chat. We were planning it. We saw him this summer in North Carolina, and that was the plan. The plan was to chat with him in October in conjunction with the Kickstarter, and he said that a big part of re-releasing Thorn had to do with the Brian Moss video that we shot, where Brian had a copy of Thorn that he got for like $3 or $4 at a vintage store in town. Brian's from Columbus, just like Jeff Smith. So when you're in those regions, you have access in a different way than everybody else. Copies of Thorn have been went on Heritage for like $17,000. So when Jeff Smith saw the response to the video, he said it kind of got the wheels in motion. I saw him when we recorded the video. We were in Columbus, Ohio. Me and the co-host, business partner, were at CXC. So we did a morning of recording. I actually forget how it worked. I think maybe we got there that first day. before the festival began, and I think maybe we must have recorded all those videos that first day. But at CXC, I saw Jeff Smith at a little lunch, and I was astonished by those comic strips because there was so much. There was so much from that Proper Bone comics that were in the original Thorn daily strip. So, the writing was on point, all of that. And, it's a daily comic. I asked him, Jeff, man, how'd you get your homework done doing this daily strip with such rigor and craft? And he was like, dude, I didn't. He's like, I went to college to do the daily strip, and I liked playing racquetball also, he said. This is a comic that takes place in the 90s. So, our dude has the Sky Pager. I hope to catch Peach and Yo when I'm out there in Tokyo this next go-round. Always a pleasure to see them. They invited me to go to Singapore Comic-Con with them, which would be a little later in December. December 9th or something. And I just backed out of that. Just felt like a little overwhelming. Japan's my joint. I would like to go to Singapore. I think that's would be a fun experience for sure. But then it's just like all the money, converting another set of money and laundry, and then taking a big trip from Tokyo to go there and then come back, and then another big trip to come back to the States. It's like, let me just enjoy my little Japan run and be with my buds. But maybe next year. I do have interest in those new Fantagraphics Atlas reprints. I hit them up and asked for that Joe Maneely, who's a guy that I just freaking adore. Rest in peace. Died very young. the Doug Munch, Kelly Jones, Batman Dracula. Definitely a comic I'm curious about. I don't have it. I don't have it, so that's the issue there. If Jimmy has it, then I could we could do it. I could find a copy and read it and be prepared and stuff. But very often, it's just the bottleneck is just what do we have? And I have so freaking much that I'm kind of choosy about the new comics that I bring in, because also with the amount of stuff that you guys send, which I'm very thankful for, it's taken over a wing of the house for sure. So that requires even more choosiness. I don't catalog shit. Like, you see how I roll, man. I'm fucking drawing comics every day. I am constantly on that grind. When I moved into this little shithole, I didn't move in technically for over a year. Like, I was living out of boxes because I had Hip Hop Family Tree deadlines constantly, and I'm just one person, so I opt to work. I opt to get more pages done than there's like an old phrase, the old thing with DJs, like if you know how many records you have, you're not a DJ. So taking the time to go alphanumeric with my comics collection and shit like that, like, is kind of a waste of my time in a lot of ways. Part of that too is just over the years, like, I just absorbed these collections, and the collections are what they are. At some point I'll have somebody take care of that shit for me, just literally pay someone. I always like the look of that Kelly Jones Batman vampire thing. I remember seeing the ads in Wizard. Yeah, I could tell you that Kelly Jones has leveled up significantly, and his take on Dracula proper with Matt Wagner is this could be Kelly Jones' masterpiece. It might be Kelly Jones' masterpiece. I'm going to read it after I draw this page tonight. I promise not to give any spoilers, but maybe it could be Matt Wagner's masterpiece in a bibliography of many masterpieces, many highly respected pieces of work from that fella. Look at more Jones, the hammer. Yes, I have the hammer. Yeah, good call. Good call. Maybe that'll be something that we put a little bit higher on our to read piles. The houses in the room, no, I'll say that with a smaller pen. The houses in the rooms of all the shorties are based on my childhood homes, of which there were several, friends, cousins. And it's such a smart move, not tooting my horn, but just thinking out loud, because it then creates a situation where I could be more consistent with the geography, and to give each house a different style. The one difference being the little Nepo baby girl, whose dad's the mayor. I never stepped foot inside of a bougie house as a kid, so that one is almost just pretty inconsistent, because I'm just pulling shit off of Zillow and shit like that. Uncle Phil's house. That's not a bad idea, man. That really ain't a bad idea. You might be onto something there. Do I watch much horror? It's sure. If you count my life experience, for sure. But I don't. Whenever I watch movies now, or when I read, I do it while on the treadmill. And so what I'm watching on the treadmill now, I last week or so I finished watching The Offer, which is that show that was based on the making of Godfather. And nothing special. Very self-congratulatory and very cheesy in spots. Can't really recommend it, but I watched the whole thing just because, like, why not? But right now I'm on rewatching Twin Peaks. I haven't seen Twin Peaks in probably more than a decade. So giving that another shot. At the very least, the Lynch contributions. If the other stuff is good, I'll check that out. I'll give it a shot. Because honestly, aside from Agent Cooper, there's not really many people that on that show that like have that magnetism to me where it's like I just want to see them do stuff. And honestly, I think that show The Offer had that for me. You know, I recognized what it was, but I liked the guy who played Robert Evans, and I liked the guy who played Al Ruddy. I thought they looked good. Yeah, see, I skipped season 2 before. I never watched season 2 of Twin Peaks. Oh yeah, sure. I was a movie store guy. I worked in a movie store for my teenage years. That was my first job, 14 to 17. I guess that's not true. I did newspapers before that, but not like a little dude on the bike with a bag. There was this lady across the street who did newspaper shit for Sirius, you know, like go to the distro center, put the little junk mails and shit in there, and then drive it to all the customers. And I would just help her out. But you got to get up at 3 a.m, go to the distro center, and just like everybody's 100% zombified. It was pretty wild, pretty crazy way to make a living. Like all of that shit feels exactly what you see before you, where it's like there's got to be a better way. But the movie store was super fun, and I rented everything in that place. Every single tape I saw. And there was some rare gems. Some pretty far out tapes. I think one of the more interesting weirdo tapes was a tape called Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen, hosted by Jackie Mortling from Howard Stern. And it had, I think, Tim Allen. It had, let me see, Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. I think it might have had Bill Hicks. Maybe Chris Rock was on there. Yeah, this is who you had. So Tim Allen, Stephanie Hodge. I think she had a TV show after a certain point. Bill Hicks, Chris Rock, young Chris Rock, 19-year-old Chris Rock, I believe. Like, see, I feel like this is kayfabe shit, man, showing a more updated version of him. But that was a pretty cool random tape. It was a mom and pop video store as well, so the way that mom and pop video stores made their bones, man, was Vice. So like we had slot machines in that bitch, and porn, of course, and that was pretty weird stuff. Like knowing the porn habits of the neighborhood. I had a lot of pride in working at that joint too, man. Like that place was tidy as hell. It was constantly moving, constantly making sure that it was airy and clean, and the shelves looked sharp. You know, nothing in disarray. We would have many movie store memberships, and none of them were at like Blockbuster. I think I stepped into a Blockbuster once in my entire life. To me, that shit was like, I don't know, eating Pizza Hut pizza. Like, why would you ever bother if you have like all this good local stuff in town? So the reason it was actually rarely for the movies that would be the impetus for having all those movie store memberships. It was all about new and different wrestling tapes and Nintendo games. And I would say that there was years ago, there was an article I participated in, and it was a pretty cool premise. It was like, list 5 of your non-comic book influences, and I still remember most of them, and they still kind of hold true. So the VHS, like the movie rental store, was on that list. And what I had to say about it was that was how a young person could you develop taste without knowing it by being a part of a movie rental store, renting all the tapes, knowing that some of them hit different in good ways and bad. Once again, at that movie store of mine, which is called Hollywood. It was called Hollywood Home Entertainment, but it wasn't that big Hollywood Blockbuster chain, that big Hollywood chain. But another one of those like flicks will never forget. And it was just so bad. It was terrible. I could not sit through the entire thing. Was a Tom Savini production on video of like Jack the Ripper. Do you guys know this one? We're Pittsburghers, man. We're fans of Savini's work, and maybe that's a part of why that product was on the shelves. But it was atrocious. It was god awful from what I remember. And even as a kid, 5 years old, you're watching stuff. And if something is boring, you're done, you know? But then you have to, if you want to be a maker of things, you have to start questioning that. Why am I done? What about this is rubbing me wrong? You can learn plenty about what not to do. And that's instructive and very, very valuable for one's creative process. Rob, thanks so much, man, for ordering up the Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus. I really appreciate it, man. That keeps the videos possible. It keeps these new comic ideas possible. And I'm very thankful, man. So if you guys haven't already, man, scoop up that Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus. Let's see if we can sell that thing out in 2023. Before I worked at that video store, we were very frequent renters there and struck up enough of a rapport with the original owner. Was a dude named Don, I believe. And then when I worked there, he sold it to this lady, Lynn, and this other dude, Ed. But I guess my dad grew up with Don, the original owner, and we had that relationship with him where he would hook us up with the screeners. You guys remember those? Some months before a movie would be available for sale, there would be the screener copies that would have, it would be watermarked. It would have an 800 number for in case if you saw it. You have to narc on whoever gave it to you. It was very, very strict. And they did enforce this kind of stuff. It never came up because Don would never rent. He would never slide that to somebody he didn't trust. But those FBI warnings at the beginning were no joke, man. Like when the feds had less to do back then, I feel like, and those copyright things were an issue. There was a dude here in town who got raided by the feds for he had like a little nook at a one of the music venues here in town, and he would record the entire performance and sell it. And some music groups got really pissed off about that. That was still the VHS era, and he got raided. And it sort of bummed me out because I would always get the tapes of all the shows I would go to, and it would be this great record of just a great night. And every now and then, man, I used to wear these spike bracelets and shit, and when I'm at a show, I don't care who you are, man. You are not going in front of me, because it would be so rare. I would just go to stuff that I had such deep passion for. So, just look up front, man, and look for those bracelets. Okay, man, there we are. But yeah, man, the feds would literally, the FBI scooped that dude up for making bootleg tapes, and it was wild because the venue. I mean, it's not like he, carved a hole in some shit that nobody knew about. He definitely was hidden, but they like let him. Very confusing. And then here in Pittsburgh, I don't know if they did this exact commercial for everybody, like everybody's cable networks and stuff, but we had our cable in Pittsburgh. It was called Adelphia Cable, and there was a commercial very famous. It was to bring your daddy to work day, and the kids introduce the parent and talk about their jobs and like their special talents and things. And it was a little kid, little fucking narc, who brings his daddy up and is like, my daddy does magic. He can get cable for free. And then some other little kid would come up next and it would be like, my daddy's a policeman. He puts bad guys away. And then you see the policeman kind of like lean forward and stare at the cable stealing father. I imagine every cable network must have had some version of that, but it was pretty well produced. I wonder if they just sent it around to all the cable networks and then you could slap your own Comcast logo on it or whatever. Slowly coming into focus. I imagine it's like peas, mashed potatoes, and then chicken. Got your starch, got your veggie, got your protein. Yeah, man. This is Cartoonist, so we got our chicken legs. Marco from Portugal, man. Shouts, dude. Here's a question, Marco. Why are all the people from the States moving to Portugal these days, man? Like, what's up with that? I know several people who've bought places in Portugal within the past year. What do they know that I don't? Cheap housing, great weather, awesome food. Well, goddamn it, dude. Now I'm gonna have to look into it. That's not a bad sales pitch right there. When you're inking, you think less about line and more about what the hell is the thing that you're drawing. So how do you sell fried chicken breading with an ink pen, or the texture of mashed potatoes with an ink pen? That's the thoughts. Wood grain, metal, the line matters less than conveying the object. And there will be the next level artists who can use that line to also convey mood, Ralph Steadman comes to mind. Bill Sienkiewicz comes to mind. Yeah, I'm down with more Eastman and Laird episodes for sure. It's so wild how the audience dynamic it's fascinating. Like we did a bunch with them in a short span of time, and you guys, obviously some of you seen it all, but you could just look at the numbers and people are like, oh man, more Eastman and Laird. Like, that's something I never in a million years thought I would ever see. Obviously, it's the internet, and it's not like we have zero audience, so you have to factor in the hate squad and stuff like that. But the fact that we got those guys back together, like, you barely see them together in the Toys That Made Us. I don't even think you see them together, or maybe it is just for that little bit at the end on the Turtle Power documentary. Throughout the years, you never seen them interviewed together, since the 80s and stuff. And we did like a pretty freaking remarkable thing. But then the internet was like, "No, man, give us something a little different now." It's interesting. It's an interesting phenomenon. And the only reason we haven't done more is like you said, like Eastman is on his travels. It's con season, but that'll be going away. It's getting cold, and it's getting to be production season and time to make some new shit. So that'll be a high time for us to get the gang back together. When I was a kid, like, I would search for and buy any interviews or things that I could find with Eastman and Laird, just like in the spirit of like cracking the code. Like how do you get to make a comic that is so successful? And it's like, you can't teach that. Like that was a time and a place kind of thing. It's nothing that you could prepare for, but still it created that inspiration. Whenever this would be the house that I lived in, Homestead, and like the littlest kids would have to get back on the back part of the table, like right in front of the window. And it was kind of like, if they pushed a chair back too far, they would hit the window sill, and it would be maybe this window here where we're playing around with dart guns in the dark one night, and we hear outside that window pop pop pop. And then we looked out this window here into the next door, like down below they built an addition for their kitchen, and tile floor, white tile floor, whatever. And we looked down into that space, and it was all red, like covered red. And the lady who lived there, man, got shot in the head by her boyfriend as we were playing dart guns in that room. Cops show up immediately. We know somebody got fucking shot. And the scary thing was that there were a lot of little kids in that house. There was twin girls who were like 4, There was like a kid every year, basically. There's like a very little boy, and we thought that maybe like the shorties got hold of a gun and did something by accident. But what happened was, dude got no trouble. Like, it was an accident that the lady got shot in the head. So do what you will with that information. It was pretty nuts. I remember coming home from school a week or two later, and the mama, it was a 22, a handgun that she got shot in the head with, and it did not penetrate the skull. It slid up the bone, so it didn't go into her brain or anything like that. And 2 weeks later, she's on the porch sitting there as we come home from school. My dad was picking us up, and like as we approach the street, turn the corner in the car, Pops is like, do not stare at her when you get out of this car or when we pull up or whatever. Do not stare at that lady. And of course I did. And I remember thinking that she looks like a penis, because you could see the, like, gully, you could see the hole where the bullet went in. So that's like the deepest kind of gash. And then you seen like a scar going up, and she was shaven bald. And I'm like, her head looks like a penis head in my mind. My pops would have thumped on us, man. He would have kicked my ass if I would have said something. I actually made a comic about that. She was a tough broad, man. A tough old ass, like, hillbilly broad. That, like, when my one sister was born, she was like a colicky baby, always crying. And that lady, she's like, just put a little whiskey in the bottle, just a little bit, that'll put that baby right. Always remember that, man. Like, that was the solution. And then, you know what, it made sense with some of those damn kids, man, because they were definitely some like fetal alcohol kids. Absolutely. Beyond the shadow of a doubt. They were like the Hills Have Eyes family. Yeah, exactly like Airstar. Drawing these backgrounds really makes me nostalgic for those old houses and stuff. Like, so many memories. And this particular house is the house that I always dream I'm in whenever, like, I dream that I'm at home. It's always this exact spot. A lot of good formative memories there, wild ones. The Bone Tomahawk dude is a kayfaber. He hit us up a couple of times. We should probably interview him. I know he does comics, and I was a little bit hesitant. I mean, all the way hesitant. We didn't do it when they first came around, and I didn't know him. I didn't know Bone Tomahawk. I didn't know his work at all. Like what you guys get with me here is like it's sort of the authentic me. Like I don't know shit. I just discover stuff on my own. Nobody really tells me anything, so I just didn't know, you know. And like this work, when I finally just happened upon it, but I was skittish about, like, I'm very pure about comics. Like, if you don't bend the knee to the format, if you don't bend the knee to the medium, then I don't have use for you. And there's so many like Hollywood type people that come through comics, and they totally abuse the medium for their little vanity projects and all that bullshit. It doesn't do anything. It's failed scripts that they're trying to get something going so that they could maybe have another shot at this movie pitch. So I was like, man, fuck these people, But he is not that, I don't think. I never spoke to him really, like just an email a little bit. But he seems on the level, like if he's getting Floating World to publish his shit, that dude's real. Yeah, I think I'll pursue that. And frankly, I could I'll apologize and just be like, cool, man. Like I was casting aspersions, being prejudicial, just because of the years and years of experience with movie people coming into the medium and kind of being corny. And truthfully, man, like so many people at your big two, they don't want to be doing those Marvel comics. They're trying to parlay into other fields, usually the writers. So, they disrespect the medium. They get no love from Eddie P. This is like Chester Gold window texture. Alright, there's one panel. Might still fool with it a little bit here and there. You know, this might be one to, I'm gonna do it, fuck it. Interested in making the characters pop, so I'm gonna by hand gray out the background. This could be done with Zipatone way faster, but why not bleed for you guys a little bit? Why not see what can be done with just the bare hands? With no other bells and whistles but a pen. A big thought on my mind with that is the subject matter. You know, like these kids, like they have access to markers and paper. They wouldn't be able to draw with Zipatone and things. So make the comic with the stuff that they have access to. And it's not like it takes that much extra time. Seeing the amount of value and stuff that, and just rigor that guys like Bill Griffith can put into their works, and do lots of work and be consistent. That's the shit that comes to my mind, where it's like, if Bill Griffith can do it, you can take the time to put some grays in by hand rather than use zip. Keep it organic. And then with a piece like this is the establishing shot. So it's letting the reader know the geography, the lay of the land. And I could actually drop a lot of the backgrounds, you know, in these pieces, which I sort of intend to do. I think after I put this panel together, I'm gonna bounce from the stream, stretch my legs a bit. And then finish her off. And then see what kind of time I'm dealing with. And maybe rough out the next one tonight. But I do think that the next strip will be a 6-panel page rather than like, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7, but it'll be 6 squares. One of the things that I'm looking forward to with the Batman Year One Artist Edition is to really see those marks at their original size that Mazzucchelli put down. I mean, that's the real value of Artist Editions. You study that stuff, and he has such a soft focus and such an interesting ink line. You know, it's the dumb line that is a phrase that he coined, and you know, it's an odd mark, and I have some idea about what that must look like in its original form, but the only way to know for sure is to see it, and to see, you know, how he's distributing those blacks all over the page. They are called Artist Editions for a reason, man, and there is a lot of stuff to pay attention to and study for your own work. Cool. One panel done. Yeah, man, these characters, they have some impediments going on. And I like the idea of, like, the brother and sister, like, have the same lisp, but the mother doesn't. So you know whenever you hear the dad speaking, he'll probably share that lisp. But also, this character is going to have an alter ego. But with this hair and with the lisp, it's unmistakable. Like we know who it is. Everybody will know who it is. And whenever I put that page together, you know, you'll see the alter ego on the next page, and I don't know if I'll stream that or not. Maybe not, because it'll have some spoilerifics in the mix, so that might not be the thing to do. I don't know. But, yeah, there it is. First panel of strip 99. That was going to be the most complicated of this page. You know, sort of dropping out the backgrounds on almost all of this. So, I'll do that off cam while watching The Wire. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please, if you haven't done so already, consider scooping up the Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus, best book I've put out to date. And that will be, you know, the best book I put out until maybe Switchblade Shorties comes out. I thank you guys for joining the stream. Much appreciated. And let's do it again soon.